and talk about how to plan out her future. So the first thing I said to her, was, why don't you write out some goals? Start with your 6 month plan, your 1 year plan, your 5 year plan, and your 10 year plan. And she looks at me with like this like crazy look on her face, like, 10 years, Mom? I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm like, life is life. You never know what you're gonna be doing. But it's okay to have a plan and a goal. And then if you can always adjust, you can always pivot, you can always throw it out, you can create a new one. But what's wrong with creating a plan? So she's like, okay, okay. So she's like, I don't know what I'm going to do in the next 6 months. I said, okay, well, if you're talking about money, then why not put money goals down? How much do you want to have by 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? And what are you going to do to actually make the money? When you get the money, what are you going to do with it? And is that going to be part of your daily strategy? So, she did that. She made her plan. She wants to increase investments. I've been talking to her about investing because I wish I had this advice when I was 20, to be honest with you. Just putting some money away. I'm trying to remember when I was 20, what was I doing? I think I probably had like a part-time job or something, and spending the money on clothing, trips, whatever. And so for her, you kind of want her to see her do better, right? Okay, you're making the part-time money. Well, put it aside. You can live off of X amount. And I find, this generation is different though than our generation. They romanticize everything. Like like her room. She's in the process of redesigning and redecorating her room. And oh my goodness, like when she has her Pinterest board all set up, like it must be like that tomorrow. you know and for us, it took time. It takes time to actually get to the design look that you want, because you got to save for it, then you purchase the items, and it goes on like that. But they think that everything must be perfectly set up like the Pinterest board tomorrow. And so I keep kind of stressing and re-emphasizing that life isn't like that. It doesn't actually all have to come together in one moment. It takes time, and that's where the beauty is, because you can think about what you want. Your ideas may change, you may evolve. If you buy everything all at once, it's done, and then where's the evolution of it? So try to get that across, because the whole romanticization of everything is, it's a thing. And so that has been a journey, talking to her about that. But going back to our plan, so I want her to kind of max out her TFSA. In Canada, that is a savings plan that allows you to invest without being taxed up to a certain point every year. So it'd be good if you could max it out every year, right? And when it comes time to like actually maybe buy a car, buy her first place, that money's there. She can withdraw it and not have any penalties. So that I've been trying to educate her on, and getting her to think about that. So she did that with her last summer job. She saved about 10,000, and so now I'm trying to get her to put in another set of money so that she can be set, right? So that's the 6 month plan. And then we go into the year plan. So she's going to be graduating. I can't believe it. She'll be graduating from university next year. And so that's probably why she's asking me to, talk about planning, talk about what to do, because she's starting to think about her future. And so, the 1 year from now is going to look very different. I'm just, so in awe of, both my kids and what they've done so far, and how they carry themselves. And yeah, so for her, I think she said she wanted to do her master's program, but maybe not right away. I did warn her that once you get out of school and you start making money, it's very hard to go back. But she wants to go away to do her master's, and not in our city. She wants to go outside of the country. So I'm just like, wow, okay, good plan, right? Again, that requires some savings and some preparation to actually be able to do that. So that's on her 1 year goal to save to be able to go away to do her master's program. So, that's all good. And then we had the 5 year marker. Now this started to get a little difficult for her because she's 20 now, so she'll be 25 at that point. Maybe she'll be finished her master's at then, maybe working in a full-time job, or doing her own creative thing. And we talked about that because the trajectory or the path that we were kind of taught in my age was, you go to school, you get a job, and then it's pretty much it. I mean, it was it for me, to be honest with you. The place that I'm working, I worked there for 25 plus years. So that doesn't exist anymore, right? So I'm trying to tell her that, yes, getting full-time employment is great, but you also need other things. So you need, first of all, you need a creative outlet. She's a very creative person, so she needs a creative outlet. But you need to make an income in various different ways. So whether you're like a contractor doing freelance work, or you are you have your own business and you have products or services that you sell, you have your full-time job, and yeah, I mean, she's also into content creation, so who knows where that will take her as well. So just having different pockets of like startups and ideas so that it could flourish into whatever it becomes. That, I think, is the message for this new generation that's coming up, because full-time work is great, but I noticed that a lot of people, they burn out because they're doing stuff that maybe is not feeding themselves. They they don't feel satisfied in what they're doing, and so they don't want to do it. So if that course changes, to try and find a different job, different career, it takes time to do that. And if you have other income sources on the side, then it makes it easier to make those decisions, right? So it kind of goes back to what I teach about sinking funds and having funds for different things. And it's important to kind of put your feelers out in different areas so that you can switch. You have the freedom to be able to do that. So yeah, so that was the 5 year kind of marker, just thinking about making income in different types of ways. And then we got to the 10 year. Now that was comical because she's like, Mom, like, maybe you'll be married, I'll have some kids, I don't know. She'll be 30, so who knows, right at that point. But I said, okay, well, what does that picture look like? Right? What does that picture look like for you? Is your husband supporting you? Do you have your own career? What does that look like? Do you going to have your own house? Do you want to rent and travel? What does it look like to you? It's just to start thinking about things and how your life, what you want for your life, because it's different. Again, life can give you twists and turns, but if you know what you want for your life, then at least you can stay true to yourself, right? And that may change, but it's good to just have something out there and maybe create a fund for your future self. So that could be an RRSP, so a retirement savings fund that you can use towards your home. That could be a first-time home buyer plan opened up and just started putting a little bit of money in there. Anything, right? It could be anything. If you really want to travel and see the world and those things, you create a fund for that. So yeah, I just thought that I'd share that conversation because it's good for kids. It's good for young adults to start thinking about the future. And I think they're so focused on today and present day. Oh, I want that pretty thing. I want to, go to Starbucks every day. I want to, and the money just gets blown and not used when you have less responsibilities. And so yeah, I think it's been fun having these conversations with her, and I hope to share more with them with you guys as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and it's as beautiful as it is here, as it is wherever you are.